Dekin from Team Crimson, and today we're going over some card reveals, and we're getting real close to rounding off the Clan Selection Volume 1, which is pretty exciting. A lot of these cards are turning out to be like super balanced and looking to be all around the same level, which is making me pretty excited. Getting my hopes high for Overdress Bushy. But we'll just start off and go with the first reveals, which were Nectar reveals. The first card revealed was Grade 1, Maiden of Flower Carpet. Skill Auto Vanguard Rearguard. When placed, you may call a plant token to Rearguard Circle. And then Drop Zone, at the end of your turn, cost, retire 2 plant tokens, return this unit to your hand. This ability is a hard once returned. So that's actually just generic plant token support, which is again a really strong mechanic in Nectar, allowing them to just create plant tokens and have free units on board, free boosters. Moving on, the next card was Grade 2, Maiden of Fall Vine. Skill Auto Rearguard. When placed from hand to rearguard with a plant token, draw a card, and this unit gains 5k. So that's really nice. Just use the Grade 1, create a token, then call right over top of it and draw a free card. Then the boss unit, Maiden of Stand Peony. Skill Auto Vanguard Rearguard. When placed, call up to 1 plant token to rearguard. If this unit is on Vanguard Circle, call up to 2 plant tokens instead of 1. And then Auto Vanguard, when it attacks, cost Counterblast 1 and retire 4 rearguards. Call 4 plant tokens to rearguard. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit and all of your plant tokens get power plus 10k until end of turn. So this is essentially copying Katrina's skill. With their already plant token based support, they can just generate a lot of plant tokens for free. They plus off of some of them, and now they have Grade 2 that when you call over allows them to plus. And this Vanguard skill is really nice to call 2 plant tokens, so just fill up those rearguard slots that aren't already full, maybe plus a little bit off of your Grade 2, and then use its skill on attack. Swing with this column, swing with this column, swing with Vanguard, generate 2 new columns, so again another force deck that's getting 5 attacks. Generate the 2 new columns and possibly have them be 10, 20, 30k columns on force 2. So that's pretty nutty. Real nice too. So that is just that's a super good Nectar support card. I don't play the clan, so I don't have a whole lot of input on it. I know no one in our group plays it, so I don't have a whole lot of input on that also. But just generically really good Nectar support. Now, moving on, we had some Kagero reveals. I know Dauntless was revealed earlier in the reveals along with Battle Sister Fromage, but they just finally revealed his support cards, so we will be talking about that. Gotta get to it first. All right then. The first card revealed was Grade 1, Dragon Knight Hishut. Skill Auto Rearguard. When placed, cost Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. Draw a card, choose one of your opponent's back row rearguards and retire it. Then auto, when wrote upon, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal a Grade 3 or greater from among them, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Just a generic good draw retire ability for Kagero. It again is a bit overcosted in my opinion. I know Brad will say the same thing. A Counterblast Soul Blast to draw and retire is a bit too heavy, but it is allowing you to kill something and draw, so I guess it's a plus. It is also when placed though, so it's kind of aggravating that they keep doing that to Kagero. They're like, here's a good retire skill, but it's behind 2 or 3 Counterblast. But then the when wrote upon ability is nice also for the possibility of adding Dauntless or adding the grade 3 you decide to play with him. But going on, the next card revealed was Break Breath Dragon. Skill, auto rearguard at the end of the battle it attacked. If your opponent's rear guard was retired during this turn, cost, retire this unit and draw a card. And then auto, when wrote upon, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it. If you did not retire, draw a card. So this is where I feel like the grade 1 is kind of made up for, because you have this card that as long as your opponent's rear guard was retired, you kill him and you draw a card, which is really nice. Then he has the ability when wrote upon to plus a free card if your opponent is playing smart by not calling stuff. So you're either like, give me something to retire, or I plus, which is pretty nice. I like that. Alright, the next card revealed was Dauntless Drive Dragon. Skill, auto vanguard. At the end of the battle, your drive check revealed 2 or more normal units. One of your front row rear guards gets power plus 10k until end of turn. Then auto vanguard circle once per turn. At the end of the battle it attacked, if your hand has 4 or more cards, cost, discard 3 cards from your hand and stand this unit. And then the skill that makes him really good, auto, when wrote upon, choose one of your vanguards and it gets all of this card's auto abilities other than this ability until end of turn. So that is really good. I know a big problem with Kagero has been you have a lot of drive checks, but at a certain point you whiff them more often than not. So you are just adding cards to just discard. And this replenishes it, so if you don't see a trigger, you're going to get a trigger effect off of plus 10k. So that is super nice. Allows you to still get numbers on your rear guards, so you can give it to the rear guard that retires itself at the end of the battle. Make him 20k, and then the ability to restand 4 or more cards in hand. Do your twin drive. Now you have 6 cards in hand, or if you only have 2 at the start of your drive check, then just discard 3, restand, and he does not lose drives like a lot of Kagero units do. All the overlords lose drives checks when they restand. The only one that doesn't lose drive checks is the cross, by keeping at least one of them. It's a really good card, because then you can even ride himself over himself and get 3 Vanguard swings, because he will still have his auto once per turn ability, along with gaining another auto once per turn ability. And then on top of that, when you ride Dauntless over Dauntless, if you whiff a drive check completely, not only will one of your rear guards get the plus 10k, but another one will because of his skill. So really good. It's in a situation that Ashley was put in where there are so many different builds for this deck, just off the top of your head, that you can think of. I know Brad was tossing out a couple, and he was like, well, maybe Blade Master, maybe this, maybe all these other different cards. Like maybe if you add those in, then you can have some pretty decent and good rides and stuff. So that'll be exciting to see what they do for that. But now moving on to the reveals on today's stream and the last couple of days were Narukami reveals. The first card, Thunder Vullet Dragon, grade 1. Auto Vanguard Rearguard, when placed, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion or Spark Arrow Dragon from among them, and put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and if you put a card into your hand, discard a card. And then auto rearguard, when your Vanguard's attack hits, this unit gains power plus 5k until end of turn. So that is really nice. The ability to just search your Vermilion, which will be needed, or your Spark Arrow Dragon, which also will be needed, is nice. It's also a Vanguard Rearguard skill, so you can just drop down a couple of these in one turn to just search your deck for it. And then the ability when your Vanguard's attack hits to gain 5k comes in later, and I will talk more about that later. But moving on, the second card revealed was Spark Arrow Dragon, grade 2. Act Rearguard. If you have a Vanguard with Kaiser in its card name, costs Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit. Search your deck for up to one card with Kaiser in its card name. Write it as stand. Shuffle your deck, and until end of turn, when your opponent's rear guard would be retired, bind it instead of retiring it. This ability may only be used by a card with the same card name once a turn. So this is really nice. It allows you to, if you have to ride Vermilion because you do not have the blood in hand, it allows you to fix that by superior riding the blood from deck. Even if you rode the blood, you can superior ride the blood because it doesn't matter if he has the blood in his name. It just has to have Kaiser in the card name. So that is really nice, and it is coming in clutch with the instead of retiring the cards that it attacks and hits, they get bound. So with the blood, you might be binding a lot of cards. It is also another Excel deck that gets spamming of gift markers. It is a hard once per turn though, kind of like Percival, which is good. But that may or may not be an issue. I don't think it will, seeing what the blood does, but you guys can be the judge of that. But the main man himself, Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion, the Blood. He is Act, Vanguard Circle once per turn, cost, Counterblast 1, and put a card from your hand into your soul. And until end of turn, this unit gains Power plus 5k, Drive plus 1, and when it would attack, it battles all of your opponent's front row units. If you put Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion into your soul for the cost, this unit gains Power plus 10k, Critical plus 1. So that is in addition to the 5k and Drive plus 1. And then Act, Vanguard Circle, cost, Soul Blast 1 card with Kaiser in its card name, and this unit gets Drive plus 1 until end of turn. At the end of that turn, deal this unit 1 damage. So this card is really good in my opinion. I absolutely love that you can counterblast throw any card to get 5k and a drive. If you just so happen to have Vermilion in hand, you throw him in, you get 10k and a crit also. And then the second skill is an act, but it's not once per turn. So if you are being damage denied, kept at a low damage amount, you have one counterblast available, you're like, okay, heck it, I'm just going to soul blast the Kaisers that I have in my soul for more drives. Yes, I take damages, but I don't care. I'm going to have 3 drives already, 4 with 1 soul blast, 5 with 2 soul blasts, and as long as you're at 3 damage, that's all you really need. 5 drive checks on a Vanguard swing with a possibility of a 27k plus 1 crit. That's awesome. And then this is where the grade 1 comes into play of having the skill when your Vanguard's attack hits a rear guard, or just hits in general, not just a rear guard, when it hits. So if you're playing against Excel, Gurgwit for example, and they went first, they have their 2 Excel markers and their 2 front rows, say they didn't have Aglavales, you swing at them all. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, possibility of plus 20k to that 1 rear guard. And then Zuitan is still a thing, so that's a possibility of plus 20k to him too. And then you bind those cards on top of that. That's awesome. You are field removing in such a good way, and just beating down with your first swing of the turn to just wipe the front row is awesome. It's not as effective against Force and Protect decks, which is kind of fair, because you get possibility of plus 10k to that rear guard, possibility of plus 10k to Zuitan, but it doesn't matter at the end of it. If you have 5 drive checks, that's awesome. And the rear guard that allows you to kill himself, Soul Blast to re-ride, just helps you further get your Kaisers in Soul. And good thing is, if you know you're going to lose next turn, if you don't kill him, just Soul Blast all of them. Hell, go for like 8 drive checks. Doesn't matter anymore. You're just going for the possibility to kill. And just like, okay, 8 drive checks. If I don't kill you this turn, then I know I die. I take 8 damage now. That'd be cool. But I absolutely love the whole aspect of the blood. I think it's very cool, and again, we're seeing these cards are all very balanced. Again, all like roughly tier 2 decks, but if Bushy decides to hit the main meta, then all of these decks look like they will be viable, which is really cool. because we're finally going to see some diversity in Standard. Aside from new set comes out, you have to play this deck. This is, every deck is getting support. They're all looking on par with one another. There might be a slip up here and there between support because other clans have some support that is just better, but this is just very generic, good support. A lot of it is splashable. I think only Battle Sisters, the Blood, Duke, Shadows support with the Witches. I think those are the only 4 decks that we're seeing right now that aren't splashable in other variants of the clan. And that's really cool, because then, aside from those 4 decks, there are so many different possibilities between a lot of these cards. Like, you can have Jewel Knights in Sanctuary Guard in MLB or as herself, or if you're feeling frisky, I don't know if it'll work, I highly doubt it. I've tossed the idea around a bit, but Alt Mile. But there's so many different variants of stuff. Like Neo Nectar can be splashed in all of these different Neo Nectar stuff. You can play it with Asha, build up your plant tokens, have that multi-attack, then go in for the Vanguard attack too. I don't know how well it will mesh, but just looking at it, Dauntless can be played with almost any kind of Kagero support that is not the cross. Like, there are so many different options that Bushy is opening up right now. It feels like they're 2 completely different design teams. It's awesome. I love what they're doing. And it's making me very excited for what Overdress is going to do. And I'm hoping that, part of me is hoping now that maybe it's not a full reboot, but that it is somewhat of a reboot that makes it where we're getting rid of some of the really busted support. And here's all this clan selection stuff. We're going to continue furthering supporting all of these different stuff and just give you really good generic support. I'd love that, but these cards are all really good. I love the Blood personally. My favorite Narukami card is Vermilion, so seeing the Blood come back and being good is something that I love. Dauntless, amazing, and Pione, amazing. But yeah, that's it from me. Leave your thoughts on how you think these cards are, and what you think their impact is going to be on the meta. I do still, up until the last card is revealed for clan selection, believe that all these cards are going to be solid tier 2 decks, which is pretty okay, but it'd be more exciting if they were compatible with the meta. But who knows, we might see a ban list come in and just take the ban hammer to the meta. But yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys later.